Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial where we're going to create a jungle scene. This is the cube and we don't need it, so I'm removing that. I'm making this a little bit bigger for the screens. So this is the starting file. There is nothing in and we want something on the ground to put later on some trees on it. And by doing that we go to this top view, add mesh plane. So there it is. But it is really small and I want to have it a little bit bigger, and by a little bit bigger I mean something like this. It's huge. I have a reason for it. Later on when we're going to do some compositing, this has a function. For now it's not really important, just later on. So this is what we have. I'm removing this lamp and adding sunlight and make something like this. I'm not going to use it right now, but I just want to have it in position. We go to the cycles render engine, making this tree, and leave that all the same. Camera, we also have to put that one in position, rotate it a little bit, and look for a nice spot. I think that spot is over here. And of course we tweak that later for a better viewpoint, whatever. So I think it's okay, it's good. So it's not really important. The plane, we look now, it looks really flat, not really realistic. So that's the first thing we have to focus on. Yes, so there's a better view. And what I want to do is subdivide this a couple of times, something like this. This looks good. The reason is that we're going to tweak that with this function. If you don't have a lot of, that looks a little bit low poly, and we want to have it high poly. So I'm now just selecting some random vertices. Not really have a system for this. And we are extruding this. G something like this. And here's one. We can make this one bigger. So it's not really rounded. What I'm doing is just try something that looks good. And a perfect rounded circle look a little bit fake, so I'm trying to make some variation in it. So it's a bubbling thing. There are other ways to do this, but for me this works really well. So you can use a texture for this and using a displacement. That's possible, but why should I do that if this works? So also one over here. So this is a nice starting point. I think I'm happy with it. We make that smooth, and the next thing to do is putting a texture on it. So this is our plane. We go to the material panel, new, image, and I found something in my texture library that looks really good for the ground. It's tiles ground number 6. I'm selecting everything. Sometimes this one works unwrap, but sometimes it doesn't. Don't know why, but this works pretty good. So this is the texture, and I'm stretching this. So turn off this one. So there we go. And if we go to this one and go to the texture one, we have a nice in the ground. We have a texture on it, something like that. This looks okay. Maybe it looks a little bit obvious, but when we're putting the trees on it, you won't really see it anymore. But it's always better than a gray plane, and that's casting light. So, we don't want that. So this is pretty good. We can make these bubbles a little bit bigger, something like this. Yeah, I'm doing that by just SZ. You can make it really flat or bigger, and the bigger you make it, more depth in the scene. This is pretty good. So this is the first part. It's very easy to create this thing. In the next one, we're creating a tree that we're going to duplicate a lot of time on this plane and make that even fast for rendering. So in this part we're going to create a nice looking tree that we're going to use a lot of times to create that nice looking jungle. The program that we use for that is Alberu, and Alberu you can download that on this website. So you type in Google Alberu and it's linking you to this one. The fun thing is that there are a couple of sample trees, and yeah, I tried a lot of them, but I figured out that black Tupelo works the best, and now I will show you why. So hiding this window, opening this one. If you download it and you're extruding it, you get something like this. You need the how you call that, Java. You need to install that on the computer, or else this won't appear. So we're clicking that, and this pop-ups. It's very easy. The only thing we do is we're opening a tree. It calls black Tupelo, and we're opening that. So there it is, and I think we need everything, leave it as what it is. So we're not going to change the leaves, we're going to do that in the Blender itself. So we go to File, Export Tree, making this OBJ. We do not need UV coordinates for leaves, only for the stem, and we need to choose where we want it. So I'm going to my tutorial video map. I'm going to this map and the tutorial tree. So tree.obj, something like that. Save, and if everything all right, you just start, and it takes a couple of seconds, not really long. It's around 15 megabytes. So yeah, that's it. So we're going into the second layer. We go to File, Import, OBJ, tree, no, tutorial tree. This is tree. For some reason it's displaying nothing, just 0 bytes, but there's definitely a tree inside it. We're importing it, and if things are good, there should be a nice looking tree. Blender has some little problems with it, so there it is. So it's hard to imagine that we're going to use this around 400 or 1000 times in a scene, because it's already lagging a little bit, but we have a trick for that. But first we need to change some other parts, something like the stem. Stem is not really nice, so texture mode looks like this. There's nothing on, just a gray tree. So I'm going to this mode, U, and maybe oh no, it's already UV mapped. That's great. So only need to put on a texture, and the texture we're gonna use for that one is tree Pog type 3. There's a little bit of moss on it. It's a very nice texture. So we're making something like this. So what you can do, yeah, this normally I'm duplicating this window. I'm going to the 3D window and zooming in. So I'm taking this point and I'm watching, and if I select everything, we can see what happened. But in this scene you won't see the stem, so I'm just putting it on for having the idea that there is something on it. So yeah, just for the eyes. So we're doing the same with the branches, and we should select the tree bark. And yeah, it's just how I am. I just want to have things perfect. So there's something on that, and there should be another one, and even another one on that. We can also just use stamps, and then apply, assign, press the 2. I think there is one more. Not sure. That's one. Oh yeah, that's definitely one. And just select one. There's also one of that. Pretty good. So we only need to tweak the leaves, and that's a tricky part. I started with creating something green on it, because leaves are green, but the problem is, I can show you how that looks like. So I choose something like this, make this a bit greener, maybe a bit more, something like this. And same for the viewport settings. So I selected this dark. So now we have a green tree, but the problem is it has all the same color, so there's no variation. And normally a tree has some old leaves and yeah, the very green ones, so a bit brownish. And but there is a way to fix that. I'm doing that. Going to my texture map and making that something like this. I have an image, and that's this one. I zoomed in on a leaf. You can see a brown area, green, brown, and something else. And what I will do is I'm going to the node editor, and what I'm going to do, if things are, maybe I have to make this a little bit more, something like this. Okay. This is my diffuse image, and I want to put something on. So I'm going to add inputs to texture, image texture. I'm opening that image that I showed you before. So that's that one. And I'm linking this one into the color. So in fact, there should be something on. Go to the preview, something like this. But it's still, it's still not good. It needs to have more coordination, and for that we need a tangent. So I'm going to add input tangent, and I'm putting that here. Yeah, making that X, something like this. Should be good. Maybe we should just hit the render to see what happened now, because I think it won't appear on this. Maybe we have to do this. I think that's already better. Yeah, pretty good. So I'm turning on my GPU rendering CUDA GPU, making this a little bit smaller. And we need sunlight, and we use the lamp that we put earlier before in the scene. Putting that in the second one. Rotate a little bit. So CPU is horrible, but this should be a bit faster. So yeah, you can see it. So you can see some brown leaves and some green, and this works perfectly. And for the image, you can always turn on. Yeah, that's a problem. Just turn off the render mode. It's so slowly. And use the sky. No. Oh. Sky texture. Here's 0.7. I don't want that blue. Something like this. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with this tree, but we can still improve some little parts. So I'm going to hide it, and we go back to the node editor. Leaves. Yes. Something like this. You go there. This is so small. Okay. I'm going to add shader, make shader. Add shader glossy. And we put this down there and makes 0.01. So we have a little bit of glossy on the leaves, but I just want to have one more little improvement. I'm duplicating this image. Add color. I don't know why this tree appears so wide now. That's not my problem. Making this multiply, putting that into the displacement, and now we see some ripples on it, and that's the thing I like. And yeah, we can just change this to make this really rough. Should be a difference. Why not? Yeah. What? Choose your value. This is the point you're going to experiment and choose your own, but this works definitely. So yeah, and you won't see it if it renders, but maybe it's just that little effect. Of course, you will see the glossy on the tree. If we increase this, you will see more shiny stuff on it. Maybe this 0.02, but don't. Yeah, it's already a bit too much. But yeah, leave that's what it is. And I think I just want to add one more thing, and that's some little bit of translucency. Add shader, to translucent, and we need I'm going to turn this off. Go away. You go there. Put you here. Add shader, because the translucency is only working with an add shader. And what I want to do is show you what happened if I change this. Now we have a nice tree. It looks like it snowed. There was some snow. It's really white. And we make this army green, something like this. Maybe you think, what am I doing? This is for the that the light is shining through the leaves, so they are not really solid, so a little bit transparent, but not really transparent. You get me? Okay. All right, so we have a tree. I'm closing this window. No, not that way. Something like this. And we need to do one more trick. As I said before, there's just one tree here, but my viewport, it's not really, but it's a little bit slow because there's a lot of leaves in the scene. Imagine the plane and all these trees on it. That's so massive that will let me crash my computer immediately. So we need to do a little trick. And I thought that selecting everything, making this just one object, so we have everything here, all the materials, but it's one object. We go to this box, and then we make display textured. We make this bounce. Now we have just one cube. That's the thing we want. And what we also want to do is adding it to a tree group. And that's it for now. In the next part, we're going to put all the trees on the plane here. And that will look pretty cool. This part is all about putting the trees on the plane and make that look awesome. So let's get started. First thing what I want to do is let the plane know where the tree is going to be. So I'm going to weight painting, and I'm making this a little bit red. But maybe the best thing to do is making this radius a little bit bigger. So I can find something like this. So we're not going to use this. So why should we make this visible? So I think this is great. Maybe a bit more. This is important because it saves you a lot of render time. So we have this, and now we're going to the particle system. Yeah, adding a new one, make this hair, call this trees. Yes, making it advanced. I figure out a number of 900 trees works pretty good. Later on we're going to use children, so that will be yeah, it's not really an amount of that it's really set, so you can use some different values. For me this worked pretty well. I'm making this random, and I leave I'm going to change the random signs and the brownium later, not now, because I first want to focus on importing the tree. So this is group, and we make that tree and go to the vertex group. Vertex group is telling the plane where the tree is going to be, and we made this red, so we don't want the trees on the red, only on the blue area. So go here, group, and make this negative. So we have something like this. Okay, and I think the trees already are too big, so we have to make that smaller. But first, I'm going to the object mode and putting this in the first layer. I want the sunlight coming from the back, so the trees have casting sunlight from the left. Making this value 0.001. Reason that there are very sharp shadows, and that means you can see the depth in the tree, so it's not a blurry fuzzy stuff. You have nice sharp shadow casting, and that looks good. I'll leave this tree. I think that's pretty good. and maybe we have to put this on. Of course, we can try out a render, making this CPU. GPU wants to do the work, definitely not. Don't know why. Maybe you have a super high-tech video card that works great. Okay. I think it's not going very fast with the second one, because there are a lot of trees in this scene. But we're going to put way more in it, so going to be fun. As I said before, we're going to use children. Children means that for every tree, there's going to be another 20 trees or 30 trees, or what do you think? Tree, come on. So, children. We're going to use interpolated. Simple did not work pretty well. I think this is a better way for the trees, for placing them together. Very complicated stuff. Anyway, interpolated, and now we need to change some of these values. And again, it's not really that every value that I type in is the best value, but I figure out some of them work pretty well. Making this minus 0.05, and the trees are then acting different, and it's hard to see what's happening. That's I can recommend to render it a lot of times and watch what will happen. I will do that, but first I want to make this 20 and make this also 20. Not a lot of stuff is happening, but yeah. Now there are a lot of trees. I think I'm going to increase this, making this 0.86. Okay, that's a little bit better. I'll leave everything for what it is. Maybe the Brownian, making this 0.39. Yeah, no, it's too much. It's less. And random size. So we have big trees and small trees, making this 0.06. You maybe think you see nothing and you know all these values. That's because I know the values. Did this hundreds of times. Okay, I'm hitting render, and this is what's happening. We already have something. Oh, it doesn't look that bad. Okay. And I thought my trees were too big, but well, it's not really a problem. Bring this camera a bit more up, or maybe in the front. So if I should make this all visible, the trees, that will be a big problem. Maybe we can do some more cool stuff with the sunlight. Making this around 5, nice value, and play a little bit with it. 12, render it. Yeah, and this is what I'm looking for. These nice black shadow casting stuff. That looks good. Okay. Okay, cool. Yes. And if you like, you can always try to make different shapes in the plane, or experiment with the sunlight. Looks what happened if we make this more flatter. F12. Okay. Oh, this is more. There are more shadows. This is pretty nice. Okay. What I will do, I will make a full render, and I will return, and we're going to analyze it and look what we can improve or not. So I'm stop rendering this image. It's got really fast. Renders pretty good. So first I'm going to increase this to 100% and sampling to, well, we start with 40. 40 will be good. So I will pause this video, and I'm back in a second. So here's the render that came out, and I'm already pretty happy with the result. I forgot to turn off this background and turn on transparent, so I have to make a new render for compositing. But there is also another thing we need to do, and that's creating a nice looking mountain that pop-ups from the trees or from the jungle. Yeah, to give that a nice look. So in the next part we're going to create a mountain, and in another one we're doing the compositing, and that will be nice. So now we added the trees, it's time for creating a mountain in the scene. And we're going to the third layer to realize that. We're going to File, Use Performance, and we want Screencast, of course, but we also want and Landscape. So there it is. And Landscape is for creating mountains. And if you didn't watch other tutorials of mine, I should explain what it is. I'm going to add mesh landscape, and there is something like this. Here are the settings, and yeah, by default it's enabled around 64. You can leave it because you won't really see the big difference. If you increase it, you have a better resolution. Size is just what it is. If we make this 5, it looks bigger. I'm leaving this with 2. Random seed, yeah, it makes it looks different. Making this 0.2, or well, 0.0, just 0. Yeah, what is 0.2? I don't know. Anyway, and here we have a lot of different options, and it's really up to you what you want in your scene. And I want something like this. This should looks good. I will remove this hole in the mountain because I want to put some trees on it. So I think that's pretty much it. I like this. So okay, but for you, just experiment with all these settings because you can create a lot of cool stuff. It's definitely worth to experiment with this. I think I'll leave it with this, and I'm moving this, or go to the edit mode and back, and there is the scene. So start with this. I'm going to make this more flattened, so I want to put some trees on it, and if there are a lot of holes, it doesn't look really good. So even some customization by hand isn't a big deal. So some more. Alright, cool. Wowsh. Alright, nice looking mountain. First of all, I want to look how it looks like in the scene and rotate it 90%. Or if you just want to do that exactly 90%, you make this 90. Moving it to number 1. You can see it's a very little mountain, making this big. Putting it right there. Oh, you can see the camera won't really recognize it, so there we go. Something like this. Well, maybe 300, no problem. I want it bigger. Yes, okay. I want the plane go to into the. Now it's there, so I have to make this bigger. Okay, pretty nice. So it's not only trees, we also have some nice mountains for the variation. So we switching this to the third layer, and I also want the light to the third layer. Before I'm going to texture this one, I want to put some trees on it. So I'm going to this one. And we're adding a tree particle, making this 2, so it won't have any effect on the other one. And I see we have to texture paint this before we do. So we go to object, or we go to this weight painting, and Screencast is doing its work. What's happening? Wait, it's a bit smaller. I only want it on top of it, so something like this. No, don't want you to go there, or the trees will be a bit weird. All right, looks good. Okay, next thing to do is enabling it, and we go to this one, make this 100, and if I'm right, it won't have any effect on the scene. Okay, and we go to this one, make this group, and in my opinion the trees are way too big, so we have to make that smaller. So we have really tiny trees on top of it. Tiny trees. Cool. And if I hit render, it should look like this. That's too many of them. Making this more tree. I'll make this 5 or okay. I can live with this. This looks pretty okay. Same for that one. But try to experiment with it. You make them smaller because I don't like these trees with popping out very weird side. I want just to put it one right to the top. Alright, texture paint. Looks at that. What I will do is select everything, unwrap it, and it says it's not possible to unwrap it. So what I will do is project from view. It's not really the best result. New image, making this 3500. I don't know why. Oh, it's way too big. Something looks good. All right. We're only going to texture the front of it, so no problemos. So, but the best way is to unwrap it, but sometimes it has some weird errors, so I don't know why. 3D, no, image, save as image, make this tutorial painting, save. All right. And now we go to the texture paint panel. We're enabling the texture that we saved before. Open texture painting, open image. Now this one, making this text draw, opening a nice texture. This is not mine, I found this on CG Textures. So I'm putting that in a separate download link, or linking to the website. All right, we do pretty well. Increase this a little bit. So check, double check, and if I paint this, something will appear on it. Okay, pretty good. So I'm not selecting this. Takes a while because it has to paint a lot of stuff, and because we have a very high resolution of a texture map, but it won't crash. I've never seen Blender crashing with texture painting. Or maybe you can use a smaller map like 2000, but when you zoom in, you will see a very low resolution. I don't like that. I think the unwrap mode only works if you do not edit the UV map, but yeah, we did. Come on. All right, I want some over here. Then we will zoom in and we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait. Okay, and now we can do that, making this a bit smaller. Okay, I have to avoid black areas. It's very important. So from this angle, we don't want to see black. I think this is still possible to see. We have to cover that. All right, a little bit on top. It really doesn't matter what kind of texture you use. Okay, cool. All right, still some black areas over here. I think. Cool. Well, now it's gone there. All right, maybe some here. Cool. Very important, and don't forget it. Go to the UV image map. Object, just like this, UV image, save image. If you don't do this, you will lose everything. You think, where's my image? And it's gone. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a safety in Blender. You can see it's loading, saving a lot of time because it's really big. All right, so if we go to this and we hit render, we have this mountain, and I think it's good. And you can always choose to import this image into normal map generator or make your own normal maps. Only tweak that I will do is duplicating this color mix, making that multiply, so we'll have a little bit of bumpy stuff on it. And I think this is the same. Add shader, mix shader, and add shader glossy. There you are. Putting it there, and 0.01. And I hope it's not really okay. But yeah, with a normal map you can improve that a bit better. But it's far away, and we're gonna put mist in the scene, so I don't know. I will make a new render. So it's there, and don't forget, it's really important to make this transparent. You choose to tweak this, maybe 0.8, a bit brighter. I'm not going to use ambient occlusion, it's nothing good for. Okay, maybe you can increase the power of the sun lamp, but the problem is if you do that, you have a big chance that it's too bright, the mountain. But yeah, just try things out. All right, and maybe some little yellowish color of the sunlight. Save your work, very important. And I will make a render and see you in a second. So here's the image. Took around 28 minutes, but I think that's all right. You can see that the mountain is doing its work, but of course we need some compositing in this scene. What we will do, so we created all the trees and a mountain, and I made a render, and things looks like this. What we need to do, you need to watch if this is material or node. Enable the use nodes and backdoor, and then add output viewer. We put it right there. Image should be in that one, and one in the compositor. I put them somewhere like that. So this is the image, and we want to put a background image and putting some mist in, color compositing, and some more little tweaks. So we start by adding a color mix, putting it right there. Add input image, and I found a nice image on Google. What is backplate 2? So now we have to combine these two. Putting that one in the upper one and the alpha one in the vector, and that creates this image. But yeah, we have a lot of gray air, sky. So what I want is to tweak that a little bit and add distort scale. And we're starting with scale, making this render size. And we go here, enable y-axis, and we're going to lift this a little bit up till we see some trees, and there they are. In fact, this is everything to make a complete image, but now we're starting with the compositing. First of all, we want that the render image merge perfectly with the background. Now it's just one flat image, so that's where we're starting with. And by doing that, we go to the add vector map value. Map value gives us the possibility to put some mist in it. And if you take the Z to this value, you telling the map value the depth of the scene, and then we are be able to fix the mist. So you go to filter, color, mix, and putting it right here. So we want to mix this map value with this one, putting it in effect, but nothing will happen. What we need to do right now is tweak this one. So I found out that the value of 0.008 works good, but be free to do something, try to experiment it by yourself. So if you think 0.006 works better, you're free to do that. I'm going to make this -10. So you see what happened. You can see the mist disappears in the front, and that's what I like. Background image disappeared, so use maximum gives us the possibility to bring that back. And we have something like this. It's not final. We need to do some more, but in fact the previous image and this one, this is my eyes way better. Next thing is I'm working with some glare, filter glare, and glare is something you can make shiny stuff. I don't know exactly what it does exactly, but for fog glow it works pretty good. But yeah, also the simple star and streaks do a very good job. Anyway, I'm putting this to 0. Looks what happened. This is too bright, making this a little bit up. And yeah, I can make that 0.1. In my eyes, the image merge better into each other. So this is a little bit too bright, so try to find out a value. You don't want this color, you want to see some variation in it. I think this is better. Then we have this white value, and you can control the mist color in the scene. And I want to make it bluish, so something like this. Make the image totally different. That is what we want. Maybe a bit more. You can even make that purple if you like. But I guess you don't like that. Purple is a great way to see what the mist is actually doing. So yeah. So okay. Then we can blur the sides. I'm doing that with a distort, lens distortion, just a little bit. So 0.01 will do. Yeah, pretty good. And okay, and just combine that one. Yeah, and I want to do something else, and that is putting some mist in the background, just some low hanging mist. So now there is just everywhere, but I want to have it in the background, and then this mountain needs to cover that. So how I do that is I'm going to duplicate the scene and work in the internal. It sounds a little bit weird, but it works pretty good. So I'm going to this full copy. Now we are in the copy. We call this internal. Yes, we're toggling to the blender render, something like this, and that's pretty much it. So we're starting with creating a cube. So this is going to be a mist layer. Go back to the camera viewport so we can see it. I don't want a very big one, just a very small. So, and then I'm selecting these 4 vertices and something like this. It looks weird, but definitely work. Also a good reason for a good way to let it merge better with the background. So we want it right there. So we have this mountain as well. First we remove this one and remove these trees on the mountain. We don't need it. Select that one and we make that mist object. So go to volumetric light. Yeah, you can keep these settings. Yeah, you can tweak it, but does not really do a different thing to it. But you can make this ray trace and pull up the resolution, make this 80. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Another thing is, select that one, make this 5. Yeah, and go to the node editor, because we not only copied the scene, we also copied the node tree, and we don't want that. So remove everything, almost everything. Run the layer, so keep that one, and remove everything. So something like this. Put this in the compositor, and you go there. Should work. All right. Another thing. We go to this layers, make this uncheck sky, and go to shading and make this transparent. And if we hit render, we should have something like this and something right there. And the mountain works as a mask because we don't want mist in the front of it. Right. And that's pretty much it. We go back to the scene. So we go to the node editor. And we're going to integrate that, and then we do some compositing with color, with the color balance. Yes, color. No, input render layer. Add filter blur. Make this fast Gaussian, and put this here. Make this internal. Add color mix, and you can make this an add mixer. That gives us the possibility to mix a layer with a transparent layer. So put this in the bottom. Yeah, it doesn't really matter in what kind of, well, it really does. So you can see it stops right there and it continues after the hill. It's pretty good. Problem is that it looks pretty fake because it's just a white thing, and that's why I'm using this blur, making this 30 and 30 for that value as well, and that should look better. Now it's a little bit obvious, so lower that a little bit, and it's done. And you can tweak the color if you like. So you go to add color RGB curves, bring it right there. And it's not really easy, and just doing some stuff to see. Yeah, I see that something is happening. Yeah, it's more brown, more green. Wow, that's really green, really fake. Okay, well, you can tweak the color with this panel, and I just want to have it less. Okay, so and we can do more stuff. Add color balance. Put this right here. This is a major thing to do. You have to do it because the colors are not really good right now. That's more blue. That's what I like. Something like this. Makes it even more blue. I don't want this in the blue. I think this is change the color of the shadows. I thought. Yeah, more brown. So we have warm colors over here and more fresh colors up there. All right, I have to think if we can tweak that. Yeah, maybe it's more purplish. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I like that. So we have that, and yeah, to finalize this image, you can always go to this one, making this gray that thin. Add filter blur. Put it right there, make this fast Gaussian, make this 130. You think, what are you doing? Are we making nothing yet? And put it right there, and we should distort, lens distortion. We have some space over here, right there. Okay, make this 0, and make distort 1, and now if we put it right here, add color mix. Yeah, I'm making this multiply because we do not have transparent layers. All this stuff, and that should work, I think. but we have to, I think, separate them. Turn it around. Oh, this is good. But I don't like a very visible vignette, just a little bit. Alright. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. What we can do is just bonus one is link Canada, of course. Plane, link it into the scene, and we have a nice airplane. Pretty cool, just for making this looks awesome. So we have a nice airplane, and I like to rotate it a little bit. And just why? Whoa! Don't want to spend a lot of time on this airplane. Something like this, so it's flying to the mountain. Yeah, pretty awesome. Put a lot more down. Alright, okay, I'm going to make a new render, and that should be a final one. So we check everything one more time. Cycles render, yeah, make this, or you can put it to 80, but I want to make a fast render. Making this 50. Right, check. Well, there's nothing. Try to make this 100. Make a cooling. Save your work, of course. Very important. And hit render. See you in a second. And here is our final image. I think everything looks pretty okay. And you can see here in the background, it's now perfectly merging. You can always tweak things if you think I want a different background. You can just put an old one away and put something else in. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I hope you liked this tutorial, and yeah, see you in the next one.